So Dirk passes Wilt Chamberlain as the NBA's 6th all-time leading scorer last night. Game of one-on-one. Who you got, Dirk or Wilt?
Well, I'll take Dirk, but he's got to keep it outside in the perimeter.
Agreed.
He better get started. Wilt had, what, 20,000?
20,000 what? Welcome, PressBox DFW Live. I'm Richie Witt alongside two venerable. Are you guys still venerable?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. John Henry, Skill Leberton. We are PressBox DFW Live. This is episode, John, how many trophies do we have in front of you?
We have two.
Two. That means it's episode 3 because we've done two
We won another one.
winning.
We won another one?
We won an Emmy. We're 2 for 2. That's pretty good.
They love us. They love us.
And this week, of course, all over DFW and, of course, all over America, it's all about March Madness. So we brought in our own bracketologist. It's former TCU assistant Gary Mendenhall. What's up, my man?
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome. And also today, Gil, fittingly, looks like we're in the TCU press box today. What is this?
This would be the stately Schollmeyer Arena. Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's
compared
just
to,
ask Gary. He can talk about that.
Looks very familiar, Gil, to
what
I remember.
Now, is it
Looks
always
beautiful.
Is it always sold out like that? I'm impressed.
Oh, well, you know.
That is not Photoshop. That's the crowd.
That's
the bandwagon crowd, right?
Arkansas, Texas.
Arkansas, Texas,
There you go.
maybe, yeah.
Well, let's hope the crowd keeps it down during this PressBox DFW Live. All right, so let's go over your resume real quick, Gary. I guess your claim to fame is you played with Kurt Rambis.
Well,
No, that's it. That's your
yeah, that's it, yeah.
Is that the tombstone?
We threw the ball, yeah.
That's pretty much
we
the
threw the
tomb-
ball to Kurt, yeah.
Now, did he wear the Clark Kent glasses in college?
Oh, yes, definitely. He was, no question, he was a great one. He was
Did he
a
have
unique individual, yes. Yes.
Also played with Bill Duffy, a known, well-renowned NBA agent, and also had ties to Steve Nash as well.
Yes, very much. Yeah, Steve. Bill's represented a lot of good players. Was a good player. Played together, and yeah, has done quite well for himself.
So your playing career fizzled out when?
Well, the last game of my senior year, it was at Santa Clara. It was done.
68, 78, or
Had
80?
enough. Yeah, 60. I feel like it today. 68, 71. Yeah, but had a good run. Played for some great coaches there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Santa Clara, probably one of the prettiest campuses in America, correct?
It's very nice, Gil. It's very nice now, but 10 miles up the road, you know, those people in Stanford might think it different, but it's a very
it's nicer.
beautiful.
It's got a little feel to it.
Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Santa
I can
Clara.
see the recruiting
Yeah,
thing.
a lot of different, yes.
Stockyards
And
the
of
beach.
course-
I mean, it's
Yeah.
close, right?
Of course, you were taught by the Jesuits. right?
Completely, yes.
Yeah,
And
okay.
good fine men that
Absolutely.
taught us well, yes.
Coached at Idaho and then matriculated to TCU, where you found yourself on Mo Iba's staff.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to work with Mo. Great coach, great person to work for.
Now, what was the nickname? What they call the slow-mo?
Slow-mo.
The slow-mo back then?
Yeah.
That's the way you win basketball.
I mean, you know, we'll roll out there and play against some of those other guys. We're not going to play to 100 now. I know what's
You're
going to be.
Texas and Travis Mays, those guys, and Arkansas.
They had a few. Houston had a few guys
you
running around.
got to control that pace.
Yeah, that Southwest Conference is pretty good.
And I believe we've had our crack staff dig up on the internet a video that you may or may not have been involved in when you're on
wonderful.
When
Love
you're
to
on
see
my
that.
Mo Iba's staff.
Crack staff.
Oh,
or
in
staff.
beautiful downtown Fayetteville and Barn
Go
Hill.
ahead, and
Fayetteville doesn't have a downtown.
go ahead and describe what's going down here.
We were probably up 5 or 8, and in the last minute and a half, they got 7 free throws, and they came back in there. And
Keep watching.
Mo was down, upset on that turn in the last 5 minutes, I believe, and that official.
Watch out, Mo.
Hey, with Mo's bad knees, he was moving right there. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Oh, and looky here. Here's our
Coach.
assistant here.
Hold on. Oh yeah. Oh no. Come on now.
Wow.
Don't get kicked out. I don't want to coach his game.
Now, what was going on with that other guy? You pushed aside there. You're like, get out of my face or whatever.
Probably one of the beautiful fans down there in Fayetteville. It was a great place to play. They sat right next to you on the bench and their knees over there, and they'd kind of like, hey, coach, that ain't going to work.
Down
15
at Fayetteville. I'm going to venture to say you didn't come back and win that game.
No, actually, we were hoping just to get out of there by 15 and leave.
And I was looking over your resume. I never saw get back coach, but it looked like you were the get back coach right there. Like,
get
back.
back.
When you played those guys in the hills, it was get back.
All right. So your claim to fame, as I hear, is you were the only guy who found Kurt Thomas. Tell us that story of how you recruited him to TCU.
Well, it was in the springtime. It was down in Houston, and it was for unsigned seniors, and we had a scholarship. Sit there watching Kurt in this tournament, and there's this kid about 6', 7, or 8, weighed about 105 pounds. And but the guy could really, it was just like score, just make baskets, could just make baskets and shoot it. And so watch him play a few times that day, call Mo up and I said, Mo, there's a kid up here in Dallas, Hillcrest. He's about 6'7", 6'8", long-armed, weighs 110 pounds, but he can really score.
Put some weight on him.
Yeah, Mo goes, well, let me tell you something. If you're going to make a mistake on a 6, 7, 8 guy, not a 5, 6 point guard. Okay, let's give him a scholarship.
And we forget how good Kurt Thomas was. I covered him in the NBA when he played. He had a stop with the Mavericks. But he led the NCAA 95 in scoring and rebounding. Yeah. What if there was a player today who averaged 30 points and 15 rebounds?
So I think there's only been, 4 to ever do it?
The only players that only led the NCAA in scoring and rebounding are Hank Gathers and Xavier McDaniel and Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, so 3.
I mean, we go crazy over Zion Williamson, and he has his physical skills, but he's a 22-9 guy. Kurt Thomas is a 30 and 15 guy.
Right.
We underrate how great he was.
Yeah.
Well, and then it killed them their last few years.
He got hurt.
Yeah. He was battling foot injuries for the last 2
he was never
a
a workout guy. He was never had the best fitness.
Oh, his deal was hilarious. I got to tell you this. When his freshman year, and if you remember, Kurt had a little bit of a short fuse, put it politely.
He was crazy.
He could not practice. He had to wear a football girdle to keep his shorts up, like the hip pads or anything. He was so skinny. But I'll tell you, he was as competitive as you'll ever find.
Yep. And then also my sources tell me you had a few misses in your time. Maybe a guy from Dunbar who went on to be Conference Player of the Year. Not in TCU.
No, that was not a good decision in the evaluation process.
Of course, we're talking about Gary Collier. Now, where did he go and how did he get away?
He played at Dunbar for Coach Hughes and was a 6'3" center. And I'd watch him play, come back. Mo, I just don't know where he plays. He plays at the center, and it's stupid in my fault because that's the type of guy. Give me a 6'4" center. It didn't matter where he played on the post. And then he happened to go up to Tulsa. And they went to the NCAA's a couple of years, and I think he still might hold a record for 2-game scoring in the NCAA, like 33 a game or something. But, yeah, he's at Crowley High School coaching. He was out at Louisville, and we talk about it all the time.
Dunbar is what, 10 miles from the TCU campus?
Oh, if we take it twice, Gil, maybe 3.5 miles.
So you go to Houston to get a kid from Hillcrest, but you can't go down the street to get a kid from Fort Worth.
Just some real good evaluation on my part.
It's Gary Mendenhall, former TCU assistant, here with us on PressBox DFW Live, talking March Madness. Real quick, I want to talk about March Madness, and everybody's crazy about it up here. I mean, I'll fill out a bracket. You fill out a bracket. Sure. Everybody you know fills out a bracket. There'll be watch parties. You'll go to sports bars. It's crazy. But DFW has never really been a part of March Madness. There have been 80 Final Fours, and one team from the Metroplex has made the Final Four in 80 years, and that was SMU in 1956. Now, it's not like we don't spawn great players. I mean, you can just go down the list. There's LaMarcus Aldridge and Larry Johnson, Chris Bosh. You can name 100. You can have an all-star team.
Willie Warren.
How do recruiters like you let these kids get away? Why don't TCU and SMU make a bigger impact in March Madness? An easy answer for that?
Yeah, I think in this day and age, the recruiting process has changed so much to back into there where by the time a kid's a 9th grader, 10th grader, everyone in the national market knows, the recruiting scene knows who he is. You had a better chance back in those days or anything to keep some local guys that were here, but now it's just saturated. They don't have a. I mean, if you look, kind of vice versa. Look at teams that will go out, to get them. Trust me, those coaches would just love to be local and just go around the block and go, let me have him, let me have him.
Well,
but it just
Kurt Thomas isn't sneaking up on anybody in 2009.
Exactly.
no.
There you go.
It just doesn't work that way anymore.
So the state of Texas hasn't done much better either. And again, 80 Final Fours. The state of Texas has one national championship. Do you guys remember that one?
No.
The
Texas Western.
legendary Texas
Yeah.
Western.
That's right.
1966.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Texas had its chances with Phi Slama Jama,
Houston,
back to back,
3 straight. Yeah.
And Texas had some good teams. Texas didn't even make the Final Four with LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Durant. Rick Barnes should be fired just on that alone, shouldn't he?
Well, there are potholes out there. I mean, it's not just like you snap your fingers and you're going.
He
to the
had
Final
3
Four,
NBA players.
Yeah.
He had 2 NBA players and LaMarcus Aldridge. Then he had 2 NBA players and Kevin Durant. Couldn't even get to the Final Four.
He made it with the guard, right?
He made it with TJ Ford.
TJ Ford.
2003, yeah. Baylor's made a couple of not Final Four.
Jack
but-
Robinson.
Yeah, back in the 40s.
Back in the
But
40s,
that's, the Texas.
Haskell Highs.
Yeah, Texas
Jack
is,
Robinson.
other than SMU, in 1956, there's not been a local team to go to the Final Four. And that year, SMU made it to the Final Four in the semis, lost to a team from San Francisco who had a center named Bill Russell.
Heard of him.
Yeah,
Heard of him.
yeah,
Not
heard of
bad
him. Yeah,
player.
pretty good. All right, let's talk about this year's March Madness. And here's my idea for everybody's crazy about brackets. Is there a live bracket contest? And what I mean by that is, you fill out your bracket, you pick your team, you watch the game. If there's a live bracket where I can change my pick in the game, if they cut that off with 2 minutes to go, I would still not.
You probably
I'd still wouldn't have a perfect bracket. That's how fun it is, though, right?
It is.
All right, so Gary, give us your take on this year's, maybe your Final Four, some upsets early. Who do you like as a dark horse? Give us your synopsis.
Well, obviously, you look at your seeds and they try to get it to where they can. But I think Gonzaga is good. Obviously, they're the only team that's beaten Duke with their full strength. Their bracket, it looks good. If it played out, they'd have to get through Michigan, but Tech's in there. I think.
Hold on a second.
If they decide if they want to score any points that day or not.
The guards need to shoot the ball.
Yeah. I think if it plays out, you got a great one in Carolina and in Kentucky playing to go, which should be a heck of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, I think their bracket is good for them because of the style of play. If you're going to play in the 60s or so against them, that you're not gonna beat them very often.
It's just risky, though. A team gets hot, like last year they lost to Maryland, Baltimore.
Yeah, I think that's
if a team just gets hot
this year.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right. Yeah,
but I think like Florida State beat them the other day in the ACC semis. They just because they score, they struggle against maybe some more athletic teams, but I would say them in Tennessee to go, and I kind of like Tennessee against Virginia in there, and then Duke. If it goes to chalk, play Michigan State, and Duke's going to be a hard out. If they don't shoot it, they still have Guy can coach a little bit there.
He's been known to coach.
Been there a while. Been there a while.
Yeah. So upset. Give you gosh, I don't know off the top of my head. Well, if you say 12-5, I like Oregon beating Wisconsin in a 12-5 in the first game.
A lot of 12s beat 5s. We know that.
Yeah, it has. But
What about our boys down south, Houston? What do you think?
oh,
about
the Cougars can play. Coach Sampson's a heck of a coach. You're gonna have to beat Houston. They're gonna play hard. I think you can throw the last Cincinnati game out on that tournament, and that tournament they've won it. They beat them a week ago at Cincinnati.
Right. I'm always interested about that. And you kind of answered it for me. How much stock do you put into, like a Texas Tech losing early to West Virginia, like Gonzaga losing early in their tournament? Can it be a motivating factor to actually help teams? And like a Houston losing it, you lose in your tournament, and then your next game. I mean, is there a hangover, or is there like motivation?
I think you're good teams. I think you're good teams. You can get them back down to base, and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But I also think teams like in Auburn, that when you do come through there and win that thing, that it does carry
Gives you a
some
shot in the
yeah,
arm.
some momentum. And a lot of those guys, just team-wise, no one's fooling anybody. They've got they've seen every tape, every out-of-bounds play, every tape. It's just matchup sometimes. I think early in games, first-round games, you'll watch that nerves come into it. They don't shoot the ball maybe as good early coming out. They're trying to play, especially the favorite, because they're supposed to win. You go in there as the underdog, like, hey, we're happy to be here, and if you get ahead, and you see it, you got to keep in there longer that game goes, something can happen.
That's where that little number by your name actually matters. When you're the lower seed, you think that's your motivation.
You think TCU should be in this field?
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. I know you're probably biased, but did TCU get hosed?
No, I would never. I mean, I've known Jamie. I had Jamie for years and coaching, and coached for one of my best friends at Mississippi State, Ben Howland, and they've done a good job. I personally, just to be honest with you, I don't think in any league and you get into, you can be not just TCU or not, and to answer your question, it's hard for me to think of teams that are 4 games under 500 in a conference that are really viable. And it's a deal where it's got to hurt you. It could have been, they say first 4 in, first 4 out, or it's just that you've had your opportunities to play, you've had your opportunities to win, and there's reasons they are in and reasons they're out.
At the same time, I mean, the NIT kind of offers him more opportunities to play, right? I mean,
sure.
You got guys you can develop. Kevin Samuel's one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, and they're in as a
Kendrick Davis.
They're in as a number 1 seed, and if they keep winning, they'll have 3 games at home and a chance to go to New York, where they did a couple of years ago, and I think that really helped them. In the following year and getting in there, but it's always the first letdown. You're not in, and you read about this and hear about the experts are telling you who's in and who's out. And my college coach was on the committee for 6-8 years, and
TCU would like his email address.
Yeah, well, Carroll isn't in there anymore. I think that people were doubting the Pac-12 getting 3 in there, but
me among them.
Trust who the chairman was. Okay?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
And they were just thank God Oregon won the tournament.
What's the more powerful emotion, the letdown of not making it, or the emotion of we've got something to prove?
Well, I think you got to regroup them.
Did you wash it out altogether?
Yeah, I mean, it's a letdown if you think you should be there, you're close. You second guess yourself. God, if we would TCU's example.
I mean, you got to come to the grips that you're not one of the best 68 teams in the country. That's an ego. That's a slap to the face, no matter who you play for.
Yeah, and then you start double. Gosh, if we like TCU, for example, if we wouldn't have lost to West Virginia in triple overtime, that game,
the Kansas game at home was
this and there. Yeah.
Well, I was there Sunday, and I can tell you that Jamie Dixon's got a heck of a job on his hands regrouping this bunch, because they had heard what they wanted to hear going in, and they thought that they were a sure thing, and or they thought they had a great chance, not a
Right.
sure thing, and they were bummed after the selection
can
show.
imagine, yeah.
They
Such
were
a letdown.
Yeah, and these guys, there's some of them have been to the NIT already, so now you get that's I know now they probably look at it not as a stepping stone, a building block, but as a consolation prize.
Right.
Especially
Jamie's
your
got a
old-
tough job.
Especially your older players that have
Yeah,
been there,
yeah.
seniors like, okay.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Robinson.
All right, from a, I say local, we don't have any DFW. From a local standpoint, Texas teams, who has the best chance Final Four, Tech or Houston? That's probably the best two chances. I think.
Careful now. Careful.
What, do you want Abilene Christian or Prairie View? You think they're going to sneak in there?
I was just wondering what his
That
answer
was,
was.
that'd be a good
Abilene-
long shot.
Abilene-
I
Abilene-
wish I had it
It'd be
somewhere.
a good
but,
story. Or Baylor. I guess Baylor's a 9 seed, but
What-
who's the best chance of a Texas team reaching this year's Final Four?
I think, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, I think Houston would play, if they won the two
Got it right
games,
here.
Cincinnati.
They got Kentucky, right?
Houston.
No, excuse me, no, they would play
Houston.
Tennessee.
No, Kentucky.
They're in
Kentucky.
Kentucky. They're in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So they would have to catch Kentucky, excuse me. That'd be hard. They're going to compete and play in a hard game. I just think up front, too many big guys for them. I would have to do there. And then
Tech is in Michigan's
Tex,
side down there with Gonzaga.
Your Texters better watch out for that Buffalo bunch in the
Yeah,
second round.
Buffalo can play.
Right.
Yeah. And, hey, Tech's going to have a chance. Very well coached defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tech's will bases if they're getting the ball in the basket like they did against West Virginia
Right.
the other night.
Right.
And I think so. So I would say the Final Four, because they'd have to go through Gonzaga
Yep.
and go in there. Oh, I'm going to say Tech just for Henry's sake, I guess.
Well,
I
what
don't
I'm-
know.
what I'm talking
But
about there.
I don't think I'm
Now, if you want
putting a dollar in either one of those ringing endorsements. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, give us your Final Four.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tennessee. Tennessee beats Virginia to go there.
Like
I'm
it.
gonna beat. I'm gonna take Carolina beating Kentucky, and I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take
Tar Heel wave.
Gosh, I can't even believe I'm going to say this as a Santa Clara guy. I'm going to take Gonzaga. Okay.
That's not a reach. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just, the underneath, Michigan, and then I'm going to take, Duke, Michigan State. I'm going to take Michigan State upsetting Duke.
Wow.
The coach has a good reputation in this tournament.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Izzo.
Yeah, he's pretty
Well,
decent.
not last few years, if you
true.
looked.
Well-
but down the road,
Yeah.
they might. Hopefully, Duke doesn't shoot it against Michigan State.
All right, Gary Mendenhall, how long have I known you?
It's been a while.
No.
10
Tell the truth.
minutes.
It's been 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
This is my Final Four, and you can look at my screen. Michigan State, Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida State. We have 3 of the same 4. So that must be
Great minds.
absolutely great.
Oh, I
minds.
got
great
it.
mind.
We got 3 of the 4.
I know a buddy that'd buy you lunch for a week picking Florida State.
Ah, well.
All right, I'll
Right
give his
there.
name after that. All right, Gil, what do you got? Give me your Final Four.
I think Tennessee peaked in January, so I go with Virginia in the South, Duke in the East in a real tough bracket, and they're going to break my heart and beat my alma mater, 3rd seed LSU. Gonzaga in the West, and I can't go completely by the chalk, so I'm going to go with my upset special in the Midwest, the University of Houston.
Look out,
There you
Cougs.
go.
I've watched them play a few times this year.
They're fun.
I think they
They
can
are.
play
Oh, they're
well
good.
enough to advance in the tournament.
Samson
guy
can
loose?
coach. I mean, you can say a lot of
Yeah.
things about
Oh,
what he
Lord
does
have
off
mercy.
the court, but the guy can coach.
Lord have mercy.
Final Four, John.
I know you all been waiting. I'm going to go Duke, Tennessee. I like Tennessee. A
lot of Tennessee here.
I'm rooting hard for Rick Barnes. Rooting hard for Rick Barnes. The burnt orange. I love Rick Barnes getting the burnt orange. But Kentucky, and I'm gonna go Michigan. I think they will figure it out
All right, national
in the
champions.
West.
Gary.
Let's see, because that side, if I am going to take the Heels at North Carolina.
All right.
You must be cheating off of my computer. I don't know how you can see my computer, but obviously
He can't see
I take
past
North
that.
Carolina. They beat Duke twice. They had them on the ropes the third time. Duke is an amazing team. If you can do that, Carolina, they're just as good. I take Carolina.
Duke Blue Devils.
I just told you Carolina was better.
And I was listening. It went one ear and out the other.
As usual, Gil,
If,
national champ.
if they can keep all their Nikes on their feet, I'm going with the Duke Blue Devils.
There you go.
All right, we got 2 Heels and 2 Devils.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll drink on it. So.
Well, I wish I had about 10 tickets to sell to that. That in
Boy,
closing,
you
man.
ain't kidding. All right, he's Gary Mendenhall, former TCU assistant, helping us out for a little March Madness here on PressBox DFW Live. Read our writing daily at PressBoxDFW.com and watch or listen to us here weekly at PressBox DFW Live. Next up, let's examine the Rangers pitching staff. We'll squint really hard and try to find a 10-game winner.
This week's pregame meal is sponsored by our friends at Fort Worth Business Press. For 31 years, the Fort Worth Business Press has been the guide to business news, events, and trends in Tarrant County. And be sure to sign up for their free twice daily newsletter. It contains links to all the day's stories from our PressBox DFW website. And be sure to tell them that PressBox DFW Live sent you. Okay, Richie, you said something last week.
I said a lot of things last week.
No,
Richie
but-
says
no,
a lot of
no.
things all the time.
What did I say?
But you
I
just
struck
gave it the
I
old-
struck a nerve. Go ahead.
No. You gave it the old brush off about.
Yeah, a little brush.
I think it was about. I don't know. It was an offhanded remark about Joey Gallo.
Yes.
And the difference of opinion was, do you think he was Dave Kingman? And I said that I think he's a future superstar. And so there's a lot of room to argue.
Boy, no kidding.
there.
There's a lot of room in there. Yes, there is.
You know, one of the interesting notes that people have made lately, some people, not all, granted, not many, frankly, is that this Ranger team will not be as bad as people think. And that's probably part of that is because they don't have much to compare it against, considering last year. But and also the thought that they may be another year or 2 or 3 away. But I think, a lot of mistake that a lot of people, fantasy players, make is that they don't factor in the fact that guys can improve, and particularly when you're 23, 24 years old. And
the quality of athlete he is too, as far as
right.
Gallo.
And they've gotten. Well, I'm talking about more than Joey here. I'm talking about the Ranger roster in general, and the fact that they all got to play a lot in the last 2 years. Gallo's played multiple positions. Because of the way the lineup fell, you end up with a young guy like Ronald Guzman being able to play his way into the lineup, and he got a lot of at-bats against a lot of different pitching. Rougned Odor was allowed to have slumps, come out of them, figure it all out, and figure out that pitchers do make adjustments against him, so he's got to make them right back. And so I think he's a better ball player. I just think
It's good to have John Blake on the show today, John.
Oh, I knew it. See,
Rangers PR guru forever.
You can't.
So you're saying they're going to be a good team? What? How many games are they
I'm
going to win?
not saying it. No. I'm not saying
You're
they're
going to say
going to win the
I think they're
division.
going to lose 95 games. You think I'm crazy?
95 games would be 67
Yes.
wins. I think
Come on,
they
big
will,
talker.
I think they'll win 72 to 74.
Okay.
Something
I
like
think
that.
Blake would take the under on that.
So I went out to spring training. Come
pitching.
on. Mike Minor's their
Okay.
opening day starter.
Oh, you can't go by spring training games.
I can go by Mike Minor's what I've seen from him. He's their worst opening day starter since Tanner Shepard's.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, Tanner Shepard.
Right.
Wasn't Tanner
No.
Shepard? He was a fill-in though, wasn't he? I mean, he wasn't.
Well, I mean,
he was their guy. What do you think of the staff, pitching staff? Come on, that's where, as you know, that's where you make your hay in baseball.
I think this is a transition pitching staff that they. No.
That's a nice way to
That's
put
a
it.
total
These
Blake.
guys
That
won't
is
be
total-
here. These guys won't.
Right,
won't be
because
here
they
in a couple of
stink.
years.
They won't be here because they're no good.
Well, look, the the whole objective, I thought, this year was just to get 5 guys whose arms
Breathing.
who wouldn't have Tommy John relapses.
Yes. Now
But-
we're speaking the same language. You started off saying
Well,
they're going to win 100 games, and it's going to be they're going to.
Can I make my point? And that's that they're I think they did a decent job without dabbling in the free agent market. They did a decent job of putting together a staff that on paper to me looks better than what they wheeled out in April last year. And I think if they can get through the first month and a half of the year, then I think they can reach that glorious mid-70s level
72.
of victories. But the main thing is getting these guys back from Tommy John, a guy like Lance Lynn. And these are guys that have had good major league seasons.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is to get them back back on the mound, see which ones shake out, and then let them mark time till the next wave comes up, which they hope is in the next sometime within the next 2
I mean,
years.
if your bar was set at let's find some placeholders who don't have Tommy
Placeholders.
John's surgery, then I guess
Why not
mission accomplished.
Why not
Hey,
Tommy
other
John?
teams wanted Mike Minor. Other teams wanted Lance Lynn, and who knows what Drew Smiley and Shelby Miller are going to be, but they both have had good major league seasons.
I mean,
in the
Edinson
past.
Volquez he was an all-star at one point. It was
Well,
12 years ago.
Well, this
I mean,
is his 7th
right.
team.
That's what I'm saying.
He's made the complete circle. So
Yeah.
I noticed I didn't count him, but
Okay.
I'm talking about the lineup. I'm talking about the everyday lineup. I think there's going to be enough guys. Who knows what they're going to do with Hunter Pence? Even he had a nice spring.
Yeah.
So
12 years ago.
No, he had a nice spring this year.
You're right. He had a good spring.
And he'd be a nice story to have make
Do
the
well,
roster
yeah, he
this
would.
year. And I don't see where. I mean, there's only one super team in the division, and somebody's got to rise into second place. I'm not a big fan of the Mariners or even the A's this year. And I mean, the Angels always underperform in my book, and so I mean, I think there are wins to be found in that division, and that's all they want. They just want a nice little friendly season to pave the way, unroll the carpet across the street into the new place.
A nice little season filled with isolated, feel-good stories in a lame duck state. But he had a note for me about baseball that's going to make you feel better about your Rangers winning the pennant pick. Go ahead.
The Astros are disbanding?
No, about the games that are going on overseas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was looking at the schedule today. All Ranger fans should wake up tomorrow at about 8 o'clock, and they will not be in last place.
That's
Either
right.
the Mariners or the
That's right.
A's
That's
are
a good
going to
point.
be
That's a
in
good
dead
point.
last.
This guy's cheering.
Of course, Jorison Profar might hit a home run and just
Yeah, he probably
ruin
will.
their day.
he'll go 4 for 4
Ruin
in
their
the
day
Grand
total.
Slam.
Yeah, ruin
Real
their day
quick.
total.
Oh, you know that.
Give
That's-
me your take on Gallo. You think he's a budding superstar?
I think Gallo is very athletic. I think he's smart. He's young. I think he knows the game. He knows what pitchers are trying to do to him. I think he will make the adjustments. Last year, Joey Gallo, by those people that keep track of such things, faced the shift so much.
Yes.
And it was extreme, an extreme shift that he saw a lot of times.
Astros played 4 outfielders
Right.
against him.
And it affected Joey Gallo's batting average by 54 points. 54 points. You take that and add to his.
But you can't take an ad. That's
Well,
like saying in
what if
basketball, a guy took away my right hand, which is what I prefer, so therefore I shot 12%.
Well,
but
what's
if I could have gone right, I'd have shot 40%.
Well, in
You can't say
basketball, didn't they at one time? Didn't they say you could only play man-to-man defense?
that. I mean, yeah.
And
back
didn't
in beach basket days.
they didn't always have? Well, it wasn't that long ago. and didn't they add
Just
that little
feels that
circle
long,
right
yeah.
under the basket?
Oh,
and
yeah,
all
the
that?
charge
My
circle.
point is that there's a chance they might outlaw the shift. There's a chance.
There's a chance.
They might.
What do you think
But
of Joey Gallo? real quick?
he'll make adjustments, and he will be a
220
a
hitter.
900 OPS guy.
My concern about Joey Gallo is this is the hitter he's been throughout his entire career as a minor leaguer. I do think he's a good enough athlete and he is smart enough where he is capable of making the adjustments with a good hitting coach, for example, perhaps, maybe, or a good psychologist might even take, I don't know, a sports psychologist. But my concern about him is this is the guy he's always been.
Yeah, he's never shown us another version of Joey Gallo. He's 25. Right. He's a great athlete. I agree with that. But it's time for him to do something different because he's hit 206 as well.
Yeah, he needs to take the next step for sure.
Absolutely. All right, there's a little Rangers for you on PressBox DFW Live. Next up, did we overrate a guy named Jordan Spieth?
Welcome to Double Dribble, fellas and Coach.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You got it. It's brought to you this week.
Have you ever said that in your life, by the way? Have you ever welcomed somebody to Double Dribble?
Not until 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations. All right, who we got? What's your sponsor?
Mama's Pizza. Mama's Pizza.
Did you bring some in this week?
No, but we'll get that done.
Son of a teaser. Gary, let's get out of here and have lunch. What's going on here? What kind of sponsors?
Look at this. This is how we win, too.
That's true. That is true. We don't just eat.
Mama's Pizza has been delivering satisfaction with ridiculously good pizza pie since 1968. 50 years of Mama's Pizza.
Good frog.
You know
sponsor.
them.
Good frog sponsor.
They're good frog. They are good
Good
frogs.
TCU sponsor.
Make sure you hit their Camp Bowie, Barry, and Brian Irvin locations, and you never know what's underneath one of those pizzas.
Never do.
Google that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google that. I'm not
If you don't
sure
know
I
the
wanna
story
Google
there,
that.
you might want to. We got a story on our website.
We actually wrote about it. We actually wrote about it.
The pizza papers. Please look it up.
Pizza papers. All right, fellas. I'm feeling much better this week than last week. And because I'm feeling so good, I want to play a game.
Well, let's do it.
Game's called Overrated, Underrated, or Rated Just Right.
Okay.
And let us start with Jordan Spieth. What on God's green earth has happened to our local golf hero and multi-majors guy who has fallen off the cliff? He missed another cut last week.
He did. Missed cut the players, yeah.
And his swing is all over the place. He said he's putting better, which of course is good, but he's got to hit greens and hit fairways in regulation.
Yep.
Did we overrate this guy? It's hard to say you overrated a guy who won three majors out of the chute.
But we did. We overrated him.
We did overrate him.
Yeah.
Do you think he's rated just right at 30th in the world?
Is that what he is now?
He's 30th in the world right now.
I don't think he was as good as he came out of the gate, and he's not as bad as he is now. I think he's a top 10 player. I mean, he's just got that. He's just got it. But in 15, he won the first two majors of the year and finished third at the British. I mean, that is like Tiger-esque dominant of golf.
He would have had he would have had two Masters if he hadn't,
If he wouldn't have had that
slip up.
on 12 on the par 3. But last year in the majors, he had two top 10s and a 12th. That's not a horrible year. For most golfers, that's a good year, two top 10s. We just set the bar so high for this kid, thinking he's only 21, he's going to get better. Golf's not like baseball. You don't just get automatically progressively better. You go through slumps. We play golf, and I'll shoot 79 one day and 92 the next. And the same way with these guys, they get a little bit off, and it gets a little bit in their head, and all of a sudden they go through dips and valleys, and that's why Tiger was so amazing because he stayed so good for so long. But Spieth will get back there. He's not done.
Well, these guys also try to reinvent the wheel with their swings and stuff. I never have figured that out. Tiger's famous for doing that. They get bored, I guess, and they decide they've got to change it up. But Gil, what do you think of Spieth?
I think that he's having anybody can have a bad year. Actually, he's had about a bad 17 months.
Last one, the British in 17. He's been dry since then.
He's still doing better than me.
But
that's at the bar. Better than you.
But
this is 17 months.
This is golf, though, right? I mean, guys go through things like this because he had reached such heights. His slump just seems to appear worse to us. And I think there's so much technology involved now. Just think he must have thousands and thousands of his swings on recorded that he can look at
frame by frame.
Yeah,
sit there and watch them all day long.
And I'm sure he has available to him the finest swing scientists in the world, and he'll get it corrected, I think. Whether he'll go on and win 3 or 4 more majors, yeah, I'd take
Me
that
too.
bet.
I think
I'd
he'll
take
win.
that bet.
He'll win multiple majors. He's
But
got that kind of talent and
Competition
mindset.
is so heavy.
Yeah, the competition.
Competition in golf is it's one so far between that best guy
Absolutely.
and that 120th. You don't know that
Yep.
can just clicks it in for 4 days and.
But he hasn't been having any top 10 finishes.
Oh no,
No,
he
he's-
struggled. Yeah.
Yeah.
He struggled for
So
sure.
what do we decide? Underrated?
I think he. I think rated just right at the point. At this point. In time.
Okay, who's next?
Dak Prescott. We got to get this right for the Cowboys. They're talking about signing him to big money here. Is Dak Prescott overrated, underrated, or rated just right?
He's such an enigma because
Do we have any idea?
if you didn't know who he was and you just looked at his bullet points of his career, I mean, 32 and 16
Right.
as a starter.
He's a winner, right?
Rookie of the year, couple Pro Bowls, and a playoff win. You'd say a guy in his 4th year, I'll take it. Then you go, oh, it's Dak Prescott. You go, I don't know. There's just something about the way he doesn't have awareness in the pocket. There's something about the way he doesn't throw receivers open. They have to be wide open before he throws the ball.
Right.
And that's just innate stuff that I don't know he can get better at, yet he's so durable. He's a great runner. He's a good leader. It makes it really difficult. I mean, I can imagine what the Cowboys are going through. I just don't know if he's the guy, but yet he's a really good quarterback. Is he the guy? Can he lead you to a Super Bowl? Nobody answers that question definitively and quick.
Well, I wasn't expecting the Super Bowl question.
I keep
Can you
going
lead
to
him? Can you lead him past the
But of
divisional
course,
round?
he has to be asked the Super Bowl question.
Of course, he's getting a Super Bowl top contract.
And for that reason, I will say he is overrated.
Yeah, I think he is overrated at this point until he can start making the NFL type throws, especially to the outside, and it's particularly with the money they're talking about paying him. He's I judge him as overrated.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if I have to vote, he's overrated, even though I'd take 32 and 16.
You know what?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard to say a guy's overrated.
Absolutely.
If you're going to start bringing the money into it, though, most NFL quarterbacks are overrated.
Boy, that's
Agreed.
true. That's a
Agreed.
good point.
Agreed. Ryan Fitzpatrick at 2 years and $11 million might
That's right.
be overrated.
Perfect job.
Who's next?
Number 3 on this list, the one we've all been waiting for, the Alex Rodriguez, Jose Canseco ex-wife feud.
Oh, get me up to speed on that.
Well, Canseco says that the Aradis is cheating on his new fiancee J-Lo, or Beyonce, J-Lo,
J-Lo.
J-Lo is gee whiz.
with Bash
J.
Brother
Beyonce.
number 1.
Jose's in
No,
there.
A-Rod is cheating on J-Lo with Canseco's ex-wife.
And of course,
J-Lo.
But you think Canseco would have knowledge of that if he's
Well,
still
he
friendly with his
supposedly intercepted some text messages or something, is what he says.
well, who knows?
Jose,
Just like his
incredible
book.
roof.
Well, and the
And
the funny part about this is that Jose took to Twitter
Does he ever?
to do this. To
Right. Keeping it in
make
house.
this accusation. If anybody,
He didn't want people to know
if
about it.
anybody's on Twitter and doesn't follow Jose
He is a
Canseco,
nut.
they're crazy. I mean, you got to follow Jose Canseco on Twitter because he comes up with he's so random. He believes that they're aliens.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks Bigfoot does exist.
Yep.
And he just throws out these opinions all the time.
Gil, it's funny you say this because Jessica Canseco, the ex-wife, says she's not having anything going on with A-Rod and that she thinks Jose is going crazy.
I side with
Oh,
her.
yeah.
The credibility of a man who says on Twitter, join me, and he puts an address, join me at this address, and I will show you Bigfoot today. And it's not a joke. The credibility of that man
Right.
is a little flimsy.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so is that allegation that his ex-wife made, is Jose Canseco crazy? Overrated, underrated, or rated just spot on?
Spot on. He is a nut.
Well, I have good friends who are esteemed fellow voters for the Baseball Hall of Fame who take Jose Canseco's word as gospel
He
because
was
they
right about a
base-
lot of the steroid stuff.
he was right about some
Some of it.
of the stuff.
Yeah.
But they take his book as in everything that he said, and all the accusations as gospel.
Yeah.
And this is the same guy that's throwing out all these charges and these wild ass opinions and everything. So what was your question? Who's overrated? Who's overrated?
Is the statement Jose Canseco is crazy or going crazy? Is that overrated, underrated, or,
no,
is it just rated just right?
It's on the
Spot on.
It's spot on.
I think we have a consensus on
I
that.
think we do too. Yeah, spot on.
Oh, perfect. Jose. Yeah.
Okay, here's another guy that we've been concerned about as well. Well, some of us have anyway. Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, making yet another comeback.
Well, that was several uniforms ago there, that picture.
It gets better. Johnny enjoys good times. And he's making whatever Canadian Football League team he was with said goodbye. Montreal. Let him go. There you go. How about that?
Oh, what the heck?
That's the Johnny we know, right?
Sure.
That's one of them.
Is that it?
So the Alliance of American Football has brought Johnny into the league. San Antonio held his rights, and they said, we're going to take a pass on you. And so Memphis would be a good town for him, wouldn't it?
Oh, completely.
Memphis is where he now resides, or soon will. Is Johnny Manziel getting too many chances for a guy who can't play?
100%.
Is that statement overrated, underrated, or does the question imply it's rated just right?
It's spot on because this is his third professional league, not his third professional team.
Right.
And we all know where Johnny Football is going to wind up, in the XFL. That's going to be that's a place he's going to go to next, because at the root of everything, take away those funny photos and his bizarre actions, he's not a good quarterback. He's proven that at every level since he left A&M.
Right.
And it just takes teams different episodes to figure that out, and he's going to play him out with these guys as well. He's just a promotional stunt at this point.
Well, the AAF is not exactly the Supreme Court of the United States, so it's easy to see why the fact that they would extend open arms to Johnny Manziel is not exactly like an endorsement
of the league or
all things Manziel. And Richie, I fail to see the difference in the AAF and the XFL. Really, I mean the bar is going to be.
I think there is a difference.
There's a difference
because the XFL. One difference is, doesn't Johnny have a misdemeanor conviction or something? And I don't think the XFL is allowing anybody with convictions in their league. I think that's one of their.
Well, they're going to pay.
Points.
You know, if you look at the way the new rules for the XFL, they were going to pay. They were going to pay better for coaches, or they said. But they're gonna pay the quarterbacks more.
Yes,
and so they're gonna scrutinize that position a little more. So I think that if he fails with the Memphis, who are they? Who's the Memphis?
The Hitmen.
Bells.
That was back in your day.
The Memphis.
That was the WFL.
No, that was the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Southmen.
Wasn't there a Hitman? Memphis Hitmen?
No, there were no hitmen. That was the XFL. There might have been. There should have
I'm
been,
sure
maybe.
there was.
But
they're probably.
no, they were called the Memphis Southmen when Danny White was the quarterback.
I'd rather be a Hitman than a
The
Southman.
Memphis Southmen.
Yeah.
But he's overrated.
You say this is his last step? This is his last stop?
Oh, it's got to be.
Gotta be
It's
his
got to
last
be. Yeah.
Gotta be his last step.
Doesn't he have enough money?
He should. I mean, he should.
Should is different than does.
He should. And his family's got a bunch of money too. So.
This
Yeah.
is true. This is true.
And guys, that's all I have to say about that. I'm done with it.
All right, there's a little underrated, overrated in the PressBox DFW Live. Next up, are we witnessing the best boxer to ever represent our area? Welcome to Wits End, sponsored by me, Richie Witt. No pizza and no other websites yet. It's a developing situation. All right, Errol Spence Jr. He fought Saturday night, AT&T Stadium, dominated a previously undefeated fighter. You guys are kind of the more boxing aficionados than I am. But is he on par now with the best fighters in DFW history? Donald Curry, Curtis Cokes, etc. Is he in that level yet?
I think he's headed that way.
Headed that way.
I think he's got the ability. But you look at Curry. Curry's a unified champion.
Yeah.
You know, he's not there yet. But there's a bunch of guys, that were good fighters that came from this area, and he's certainly in that mix.
Yep.
Yeah, Donald was named was the consensus pound for pound best fighter in the world. At one point, he was 25 and he had won 25 in a row, 25-0 with 20 knockouts. A very skilled fighter, rose in weight class and still became champion. I would tip my hat to the great Paulie Ayala, who had a brief but shining reign.
Absolutely.
But I think, and I got to admit, I'm not old enough to be totally familiar with Curtis Cokes' great career, but he fought in the '60s, but I remember the name because he actually fought in my hometown of New Orleans. But I got to go with Donald Curry there, and
I'm a Curry guy and I'm a homer. So
There's talk of Spence. He's 25-0 with 21 knockouts, and he's pound for pound one of the best fighters on the planet. He's not there yet,
right?
But he's getting there. But did you guys see his entrance the other night when he brought in the Lancaster High School band, and he brought
sweet,
and he had who was the guy? The Yella Beezy, the rapper. That kind of
I'm a big, huge.
I figured, Gil, get your iPod. Let's hear some Yella Beezy. There's
this is great.
This is his
I love
entrance
this.
into the fight. Wasn't that great?
I love this. This is great.
And he's from DeSoto.
DeSoto, I was gonna say.
But that's Lancaster, and that's fighting words back in
that's
Southern Dallas County.
That'd be a bigger
And the
fight
kids-
afterwards.
He's a man of the people. Okay, he's unifying Southern Dallas County.
And
Well,
the
this is
kids,
unique.
the
Yeah.
kids must have had a great time doing it. Look
Yeah.
at this.
This
is greatness.
He now wants to fight Pacquiao. Any interest in seeing that fight? Is Pacquiao done, or would that be
I
fascinating?
mean, just the names alone, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see a politician knocked out anyway.
And of course, Jerry would love to see Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. at AT&T Stadium.
I noticed Errol was saying,
let's do it.
let's do it here.
Oh, yeah, let's do it here.
I was just impressed real quick when I saw the attendance of
47,000
people.
Absolutely, yeah.
My gosh, so was Jerry. I know
Oh,
that.
yeah. You better believe it.
There'll be another fight at the big house in Arlington. All right, there's some wits in for you. Next up, PressBox DFW Live. Time to round the bases. Let's head for home. Let's do a little walk-off. Each week, we'll answer a question emailed to us by a reader at PressBoxDFW.com. Email, Gil's is still glebreton at PressBoxDFW.com.
It is.
All right. Email your questions to glebreton at PressBoxDFW.com. What's our question this week?
It comes from Clay Carballo, and he wanted to know, why don't we do more stories on the website on Texas A&M? I'll give the quick answer here.
Okay.
We would like to. We would like to. And we would, the few A&M stories that we've had, we've had trouble cracking through the almost impenetrable TexAgs.com barrier. All Aggies apparently, even the ones they subscribe from the grave to TexAgs.com, and they all swear by that website, and they won't run our links because they see us as competitors.
Good.
And but we would like to, and I've got just the guys that I can send down there to report about the Aggies. But if you would like to see more Texas A&M news on PressBox DFW, please let me know, and we'll make it happen. We don't
consider it done. Send in story ideas.
Yeah.
We'll love to do it. And I mean, there's no anti-A&M bias here at all, even though some of us are hook 'em.
Not at all. Yeah,
Absolutely, we're right about A&M.
I admire the Aggies.
Maybe what he's thinking is we need to tell more Aggie jokes on the show. Anybody have one?
Oh, I've had some great content over the years.
Can you think of one offhand?
Let me see here.
Great content.
Yeah, actually, did you hear about the two Aggies driving down the road? Saw a dog, doing licking himself.
Okay.
What dogs do?
What dogs do. One Aggie says to the other, "God, I wish I could do that." And the other Aggie says, "Ooh, that dog will bite you."
Okay.
So there you go. You wanted more A&M content? We deliver right there on PressBox DFW.
We deliver at PressBox DFW.
All right. Read us at PressBoxDFW.com. Watch or listen to us each week right here on PressBox DFW Live. Gil, what's at the site? What's going on? What's the big news?
We've had some great stories this past week. Art Garcia did a great story from the scene on Dirk's moment last night, passing Wilt Chamberlain. We had an exclusive of sorts. Jim Schlossnagle was mad at his team for in the course of a weekend in which they won games 12-2, 16-4, 12-1. His center fielder did this very dramatic bat flip after a home run in the second inning on Sunday, and Schlossnagle made him go back and pick up the bat himself.
Sent the bat boy back out there with the bat and said, "Put it down."
Carlos Mendez was there. He had a great story. Go look for it. And the other thing I would say, the really great story that everybody's enjoyed, the great Gary West, one of the best turf riders in the country. Did this excellent, the best, we think, is he did this great story on the problems that they're having at Santa Anita, where horses are breaking down and having to be euthanized. And sadly, that headline that we put on the story is now incorrect because a 22nd horse has passed away. And please read it. Read everything. All of Gary's stuff that he's done for us is on there. Please read it. You will like it, I guarantee. And we hope to have more Gary West stories.
Amen to that.
Amen.
And thanks to special guest Gary Mendenhall for stepping in, giving us some March Madness.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for hanging out. You're welcome anytime.
Expertise. That's expertise.
That is expertise.
Oh, yes.
For Gil Leberton and John Henry, I'm Richie Witt. We'll see you in the press box, DFW.